One question I get asked, is it worth grading your Pokemon promo cards? Some you can get a hold of really easy in collection boxes and ETBs. Some you can only get from going to special events. But is it really worth grading them to increase the value of all these different promo cards? We're going to find out right now. So promo Pokemon cards, they are pretty cool. There are some amazing ones out there, but are they worth grading? I've actually graded some myself, from the Charizard GX from the Hidden Fates tins to the Legendary Bird promos from Hidden Fates. If you love the cards, I always say it's worth getting graded. However, if you want to do it for the value, are they really worth it? There are a lot of promos out there which really aren't worth it, but there are some that are. So today we're going to be looking at the single card prices of some very popular promo cards, and we're going to take a look at the PSA prices of them to see whether or not it's actually worth your time and money in grading promo cards. First promo we're looking at today is the Eevee Vmax promo. This is actually from the Shining Fates Elite Trainer box. Great set, I really enjoy it, and this is a really cool promo. You do get it in every single ETB, as it is quite common. As you can see, eBay raw prices, we're looking at $2.38 for this card. TCG player $1.60. You know, not that expensive. You choose to get it graded, let's say with PSA, you're looking at $21 in a PSA 10 and only $10 in a PSA 9. So with the cost of grading your cards, you have to weigh up, is it worth it, right? With the cost of grading your cards, you're looking at just under $20 per card to get graded with PSA. Even over here in the UK, you're looking at around 18 to 20 pounds per card to get graded through PSA. Is it really worth grading your Eevee Vmax promos? No, there really isn't. Because if you get a 9, you're going to lose money. Even if you get a 10, you're only going to get basically what you paid into it. But realistically, this is an example of a card where it isn't worth grading. However, one promo that is worth grading is the Special Delivery Charizard. Now, this one you were able to get hold of if you spent £20 or more at the UK Pokemon Center website. Now, I managed to pick up 2 of these myself, and I did actually grade 2 myself. Unfortunately though, both of them did come back as a 9, neither was a 10. But this card, I would say, would be worth it, that chance to get that PSA 10. So let's take a look. We're looking at $43 raw for this Charizard. In a PSA 10, we're looking at $193 compared to the 9. So the 9 isn't really worth it. So my 2 aren't really that great. However, if they did come back as a 10, the reward is like really high, so it makes it worth it. It makes it worth that little bit of a risk, you see. One thing I would say about promos, and especially sending off to get graded, sometimes the quality of them aren't the greatest. They can get damaged in the packaging and things like that. Collection boxes ones tend to be worst off because they're kind of jammed in the plastic. However, ones that come in the little plastic protectors, that's not too bad. This is still a really cool card, and I would suggest sending this one off to get graded. Now we're going to look at some Charizards from the UPC. Now UPC, very popular product. I've said many times on this channel that you guys should pick it up and crack it open or keep sealed, whichever way you prefer. We're looking at this one. This is the V-Star one. This is $13 right now, $9 on TCG Player, so only about $10. However, if you do get it graded, even in a PSA 9, it's still $31. We said it's about $20 to get graded. You're going to break even, right? With the value and the cost. However, in a PSA 10, $104, that big jump. So there's usually big price differences between a 9 and a 10. That's one thing I will say. It really is massive, especially with these promo cards as well. The jump is the jump is really high, and you know that is a problem. We take a look at the Vmax. This is actually my favorite one actually from the set. We're looking at roughly around the same price raw, you know, around that $10 mark. However, this one's less. So we look at PSA 9, we look at $30 compared to PSA 10 at $87. So in both instances, this is actually cheaper than the Charizard V-Star. Will I send this off to get graded? I still would, right? That PSA 10 value is still really high. You know, that's one thing I would say. Now I'm actually going to send some off myself down the line, and we're going to see how well they get on. Now onto the final one. This is the cheapest one. This is the Sleepy Boy of the Charizard from the promo, and it's really good, right? You're looking at $5, so pretty cheap, $5 to $10. However, PSA 10, we're looking at $80. PSA 9 is $22. Is it worth that risk? I mean, the reward is, again, still quite high. I would send all 3 off and just hope to get 10s. If you get 9s, I mean, you're basically just going to break even. That's one thing you have to kind of accept with these. But, you know, chasing those 10s, I think it's probably worth it. I think it's probably worth it. They're nice enough cards that it looks really cool, you know, to get them in a slab. I've got a bunch that I'm going to send off later on in the year and see how well they come back. Hopefully they come back as 10s. Either way, I'll be happy. Okay, now we're going to look at the Marnie. Now Marnie is from the Milk Carton. This is the promos. This is another example of a promo that you can get from a different product. This is from the Premium Tournament Collection boxes. Let's take a look at this. Now I have actually graded this one myself. $27 to $29 raw. Okay, $12.50 on Card Market, which is quite cheap. PSA 10, $145. PSA 9, $41. Now I got 2, unfortunately, and a 9. Didn't unfortunately get a 10. So, you know, you're looking at, again, not too bad in a PSA 9, but in a PSA 10 it's definitely worth it. $145. Would I send this off to get, you know, graded? Absolutely. Again, promos, they are more tricky. Now we'll say this, guys, they are more tricky than sending off cards that are just pack fresh, right? You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing to look out for, but this is still worth it. There's an example, like I say, of a promo card from a different style product. Normally you get promos from ETBs, collection boxes and the like, so this is still a really nice one to send off. Next we have the Arceus V. This is a card that I've actually graded myself. This is from the figure collection box, another example of a promo from a collection box this time, or from an ETB or anything like that. This is a cheap card, right? We're looking at around $6 raw, $67 raw. PSA 9 you look at 23, but PSA 10 we look at 67. This is actually not bad. Unfortunately, again, I managed to only get 2 in a 9. I basically broke even on that one. The PSA 10, 67, I mean, you know, you're paying, let's say, 20 to get it graded. That's not bad. That's a not bad return, actually. So even though this is quite a common, you know, promo, because people really like this and it is such an amazing card, that even, you know, even it's so cheap raw, it could fetch a decent price, you know, in a PSA 10. And breaking even on a 9 is not too bad. So I would definitely say this is good. So I would say this is actually an okay one, again, to send off graded. A bit unusual. I don't normally go for collection boxes, but I do feel like this promo is really nice, and that's why I sent 2 off to get graded myself. And this is an example of one which I think is actually pretty good, especially from a collection box. Now we've got Charizard from the Champions Path ETB. Now this is one that's been graded. You know, people have graded this one a fair amount, because it is a really nice Charizard card, and you know, it's one of the few things that's good about Champions Path. So let's take a look at this. Is this worth to get graded? Well, as you can see, we're looking around $5 to $7, 13 on card market, that's quite high. PSA 9, $18, PSA 10, $40. No is the answer to that one. I wouldn't send this off. However, in a CGC 10, we're looking at $124. In a 9.5, you look at 22. This is not worth grading. I wouldn't suggest sending this off, because, you know, even if you try and aim for that 10, you're not really making a huge amount, right? But if it comes back a 9, it feels kind of bad, because you could get less than what you've paid for, let alone the actual value of the card itself. So I wouldn't really try and go for that. I mean, CGC, you could try and go for the 10. However, if you get anything other than a 10, it is just an absolute, you know, throwaway money. So I probably wouldn't grade this card. Like I said, there's a ton of them around. If you want to have this in a PSA 10, I would say just go out and buy it in a PSA 10. I wouldn't get it graded. That's just my thought. So yeah, not the greatest. To finish off, guys, we have the special delivery Bidoof, and we looked at the Charizard. Now let's look at this one. This is a promo card which has been shooting up in price recently and is getting super duper expensive, especially in a PSA 10. Take a look at this. $240 to $280 on eBay and TCG Player. Over $442 on card market. Out. PSA 10, $800. PSA 9, $282. So you basically break even if you get it graded and it gets a 9. But if you get a 10, that is an insane amount of money. That is really, really high. This is not easy to get hold of anymore, this special delivery Bidoof. I don't have it, but it is going up in price. If you're going to buy it on the secondary market, like on eBay or something like that, you're going to have to pay a pretty hefty price. Then you've got to make sure it's a good condition to then send it off to get graded. Now the cost to get it graded, really, you know, look at say $20, £20, it's still worth it, right? It's definitely worth the chance for it to come in a 10. When you start looking at really high value cards, it then becomes more and more appealing to just pay that extra 20 to get it graded, to see if you could get it in a 10. You know, obviously if it looks absolutely battered, you don't want to send it off, but if you feel like it's going to be good, it's definitely worth the try. That's why I always say the cheaper ones like the EV Vmax promos and things that come in most collection boxes, things that usually come in the ETBs, they don't really tend to hold good value. You know, we're looking at maybe $1 to $2 cards. They are just not worth getting graded. They're not worth the cost to then get the chance to get it in a 10. If you want it in a 10, just go and buy it in a 10. But most of these, I would say, are probably not worth grading. However, this Bidoof really is. There you have it, guys. Those are some examples of some graded cards. Like, of course, I've graded some cards like this Charizard, for instance. I mean, it's around $5. It's not the most expensive card. However, it is in the PSA 10. So this is worth around maybe $40, $50. It was worth it. If it was in a 9, I would have probably lost some money on it. But you know, I like the card, so that's why I got it graded, right? Another example, like I showed you guys, is the Legendary Birds Stained Glass promo. I really like this card, and it, you know, this did get a 10. This in a 10 is worth a decent amount of money. We're looking around $70. So it is worth a fair amount. However, the raw price, we're looking around $10 to $15 for this, and it cost me about 20 to get graded. So it was worth it, right? Even a 9, basically broke even. So some of them are okay to get graded, some of them not. I mean, I've had a ton of EV Vmax promos from Shining Fates boxes, Lucario promos from the Crown Zenith boxes. I just wouldn't bother grading them. It's not really worth it. Even in a 10, you just don't get your money back. When you send cards to get graded, you're basically risking it all in the hopes to get a 10. Otherwise, you're really not making money. With the higher value promos like that special delivery Bidoof, even the special delivery Charizard, I think it's worth it. You know, I do think it's worth it. And like I say, there are some promos which are still pretty good, like that Arceus V. So there are some out there. You just got to look around, have a look on PokeJace.io, which is what I've been using today. Give you guys an idea of what's been going on regarding the PSA and graded prices and the raw prices of these promo cards. Speaking of graded cards, if you want to know what the most expensive Sword and Shield graded cards are, make sure to click on this video right here. And if you watch more Pokemon content, guys, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Alright guys, that's it from me in this video. Thank you all so much for watching. You guys are legends, and I'll see you in the next one.